Hydrate.
It's weird being a guest.
I know, right?
I'm usually the one who's pushing that button.
I've learned from the best. I've learned from the best. So,
Oh, come on. It's fun.
uh,
It's fun when you mess up.
sometimes.
Shows you're human.
The bloops of it all.
Hmm. And three, two,
Two
one.
and one. What is up, my kings and queens and all in between? It's Andrew Velasquez with another episode of Mindful Artist Podcast. Thank you so much for being here. Oh my God, season two, and I have an amazing guest that I looked up to for a long time. But before we get into the guest, let me tell you a little bit what to do. I have a favor to ask of you. You could kindly go to the stars in the reviews, give us those stars and ratings so others like yourselves can most likely see this in their algorithms. And that song you just heard, Miko, that song you could download wherever you stream your favorite music, written by myself, produced by Aaron McLendon. Just download it wherever you stream your favorite songs. And for today, your one-stop shop for all things balancing creativity, mindfulness, while being an entrepreneur. I have an awesome guest, you guys. I have Stefan with MLVC. Oh my God, I love you. How you doing,
Andrew, is this
Stefan?
video or just audio?
It's gonna be both.
Oh, okay.
So
So I can be animated while and be
yes,
quiet at the same
you
time.
can do
Okay.
this. Look, I'm gonna show you.
Okay. Yeah.
You can do this.
Oh, that's fancy. I've never, hold on.
Uh-huh.
Really did
And you can do this. All the things. All the
that
things.
does not work for me. I can't
You
do
just
hearts.
got to go to software update to make sure
Oh,
you're in the
yeah, no,
current
I'm
iOS.
I'm behind. I was gonna say you're fancy. I was like, you're doing magic.
I'll be here at Mac Genius Bar as well. So who do I have, you guys? I have Stefan, and I'm gonna butcher your
You're
last
gonna
name.
butcher the last name. It's Stefan Mreczko. It
Mreczko. That's
rolls right off your
beautiful.
tongue, doesn't it?
I love how that sounds. Stefan Mreczko is an artist originally from Philadelphia who found his creativity in New York City. He has worked in television, music videos, theater, and global advertising and PR films, and is an internationally published freelance photographer focusing on men's fashion and portraiture. An ongoing personal photography project of his titled Museum Napping, inspired by a performance art piece by actress Tilda Swinton, depicts Stefan taking naps in museums around the world. A longtime Madonna fan, obviously, Stefan is one of the part-time. I'm going to rephrase all that. See, this is
Oh, I was
why
gonna say, yeah,
the host is
you,
getting me
this is
nervous. The other
this is when you
host.
have to like just take a breath.
Ah,
We're gonna
yes,
restart. Be mindful.
yes. We
Be
have to be
mindful. It's
mindful.
where like
Breath,
let's be
breath
grounded where
work.
we're at. It's a
I
Thursday
love
night.
it. It's like a
We've had a
train the
long
trainer.
holiday. We've had
Girl,
a
it has
long
been a long one.
holiday, you know.
It has. It has.
Okay,
All
let's
right.
go.
So
Let's
a
go.
long time
I was gonna say
Madonna
I could do this
fan.
for you if you want.
Stefan is one part of the quartet. What?
Well, so I host a podcast called MLVC, the Madonna Podcast.
Oh my God. Yes. Not only did Stefan get to go dancing on stage with Madonna as the unapologetic bitch during the Rebel Heart tour, he got to sit down with Madonna and share a beer with her and his friend Sean during the Madonna X tour. He attended M's exclusive performance at the Red Rooster, culminating in NOLA-inspired parade through the streets of Harlem, and most recently went roller skating with M at her finale or finally Enough Love disco party.
Finally, enough love.
Yes. In his spare time, Stefan is an ad gym goer.
Oh my
And
goodness, Andrew.
I'm wrecking all this up. Look at you got me sweating. What is happening?
I'm an avid gym
Oh,
goer. I'm a Madonna
yes.
fan. Yeah,
Yes.
let's just dive in, Andrew. There's no need to finish
Let's
this
just do it.
bio,
I
you
love
know.
this. Thank you so much, Stefan, for being here.
Here we
Give it up, you
are. It's all
guys.
real. See? It just
Stefan
goes to
is here.
show. Yeah.
I love it. And you're repping the merch.
Oh yes, yeah.
Yes.
MLVC t-shirt. I always gotta, well, you're repping the Queen with a little
I have to.
vintage
I
true
have to.
blue from
Have to
that
celebrate
wonderful
the
Herb Rich photo shoot. She's absolutely gorgeous.
yes, yes, yes. You guys, podcast I've looked up to for such a long time. You already know I'm like one of the biggest fans.
You've
I'm
been with us for a while, I think.
I have
Were
from
you, I mean, we're going to be starting our sixth season
I
next month, which
know.
is cuckoo bananas to think that I've been podcasting for 6 years about Madonna, because I think a lot of people hear that I do a podcast about Madonna and they're like, you've been podcasting about her for 6 years? How is that possible? And I'm like,
Right.
and I like to turn it on people and say, you've been watching football for how many years?
Everyone has their vice. Everyone has
Exactly.
their
Like it's
thing.
people like they buy season tickets at sports events. Madonna fans go see Madonna multiple times every tour.
Also, the fact that we have this community where we can share that dialogue with each other and we don't feel like outcasted, you know what I mean? Because you already know, like being a Madonna fan, everyone already knows, like, don't even talk bad about Madonna to Andrew because it's just not gonna happen.
Don't
My
be
husband,
going there. Don't you go there.
my husband will be like, oh,
Like, I'll be taking
nope,
my earrings off. I will see
yep.
you in the parking lot.
Literally. So to have this like safe space of community where we can just like geek out and just be
Yeah.
ourselves about all things Madonna
Well, I
is.
mean,
Thank you.
that's
Yeah.
part of what it's for, you know. I mean, we've gotten so many messages over the years of people saying, "I'm so thankful that you do this show because I don't have any friends who like
Yeah.
Madonna where I live, and it's I turn on your show and I hear you talking about her, and it just feels like I'm part of the conversation, that
Yeah.
I have a friend to, and I think somebody had messaged me in season 2 saying, your show is just like a little warm hug. And I thought, oh,
Yeah.
that's sweet. I don't
It's
think about that
true.
type of stuff when you podcast. I think because it's so isolatory, like right now it's
Yeah.
just you and me talking to each other. We don't really
Laptops.
see the people that we're talking to,
Correct.
who are listening to the show. And I think, you never know what type of inspiration you will provide, or what type of comfort, or what type of,
Hmm.
you know, and it's good to be there.
And
It's good.
globally too, because it's not just on Instagram or wherever you stream podcasts, but it's on YouTube. It's where pretty much everywhere can stream anything, whether it's a video or just the audio. So I appreciate that. No, I'll forever be an ongoing fan, not only of our queen, but of
Well, you've
MLVC
also been
for
on the
sure.
show. You're like
I
a friend
have,
you're a
I
friend of the
have.
podcast. You've been on.
I appreciate that. Thank
You're
you. I love you
you're
guys.
you're the MLVC requisite makeup artist on the in the
Just a little
family.
bit,
So
just a little bit. So, but this is about you. This show is about you and your journey as an artist. And your photography is so well. It's done like the lighting that you have, your backgrounds, like the juxtaposed, the all of it, like how you have, organized your portfolio. I really appreciate because I work with many photographers. So I see your compositions. I see your eye for detail. Like I always appreciate that when a photographer can catch these little nuances in their models up. So how did that start? Like when did that begin? Like and when did that become part of your career?
yeah, well, so my main career I do not do any of my artistic endeavors as my main career. Sadly, I work in marketing and PR to help pay my
Hey,
mortgage.
there's an art in that as well. I
Yeah,
definitely see that. Yes.
yeah. But I do have a bunch of side hustles. One is my photography. I got my very first camera my dad gave me as a graduation present from 8th grade, and I just started photo. I didn't know what I was doing. Back in the day, uh, we didn't have digital cameras, or
Right.
cameras in our phones, because we didn't, we all we had was landlines. And
Yeah.
so it was a film camera. And photography was it was a little rough when you couldn't see what you were taking pictures of and how it was turning
Right.
out until you got the film
It was like
developed. And it was
surprise, go into the
expensive,
dark room.
like it took a lot of money to, you had to buy the film, then you had to develop the film. You couldn't Photoshop anything. It's like the struggle. The struggle was real,
Yeah.
Andrew.
But it
But
was an
I was,
experience too.
yeah. I mean, it was. I loved it. I don't know why I loved photography. I think a lot of things I sort of got involved with was as a result of Madonna. I think
Yeah.
Madonna, and seeing Madonna photographs and music videos definitely inspired me to
Hmm.
want to be interested in photography. And um, I just
So
photographed,
cool.
I was photographing during high school for the yearbook a little bit and learning. And then when I finally went to college, I was able to take my very first photography class, and I was through the moon. Like
Yeah.
I loved it. It was like life changing, and I ended up being a film major and a photography minor in college. And um, yeah, I
Cool.
mean, that's just how it began. And I mean, I've done all different types of photography through the years. After I graduated from college, I started doing wedding photography, and I was like a second assistant for weddings and with random people. And a lot of people are like, oh, that's great, you're photographing and you're getting paid for it. But I ended up started to hate doing it because there's only so many weddings that you know, like
It's not for everybody.
how many chicken dances can you endure,
Yeah.
or you know, the
Yeah.
Macarena one more time, you know, like
Yeah.
it started to drive me. And it's long days, you're on your
It
feet for
is.
hours and hours and hours. And
Yeah.
wedding clients are not the easiest clients in the
It's a
world because,
specialty.
you know, it's like
Yeah.
it's their special day, and like
Yeah.
God forbid you're not
Yeah.
getting, you know, if they don't think you're doing the right job. And uh
Definitely takes a lot of patience.
oh, totally. And ended up, I had to step away from photography for a little bit because weddings was making me hate photography. And
Yeah.
I was like, if I don't stop photographing right now, I'm going to hate photography, and I don't want to hate photography. So it took like 2 years away. I just didn't even pick up a
Nice.
camera.
Yeah.
And I decided, I decided to take a class, and just to sort of like reinvigorate that passion within me. And the class helped. I started doing a self-portrait project, and then I just started, just I was like, I upgraded my camera
Yeah.
to a better camera, and that sort of helped me. And then I just started photographing anybody and anyone that was willing to photograph. That I was like, I need to build my portfolio up in digital photography. And yeah, and so, and
And you did that.
well, I don't, look, I hate when people are like, oh, you know, like I just picked up a camera again, and all of a sudden I was published in the New York Times. Like, I can't stand when people tell their like success stories. They don't talk
Right.
about like the work that it actually went into doing it. You
Yes.
know, like
Right.
I was begging people to photograph. Like, people didn't even want to photograph with me. I was just begging friends, like,
Yeah.
can you please just photograph me? Because I was like, if I don't have a current portfolio with new photographs, no, I'm never going to be able to book a job, you know, unless I have like a current stuff. So I was doing that, and then I just started like begging uh fashion model agencies to let me photograph with their models. And
Rad.
it's sort of like, when you get one, then it's easier to get the second. And so
Yeah.
it was just a matter of like doing that. And then um I was doing stuff for some off Broadway theaters, very like small, tiny, like 50-seat black box theaters, doing publicity photos for them. And one of them happened to get a review in the New York Times. So I was
Amazing.
able to get a credit that way. And, you know, so it's
Yeah.
like, it's one of those things where it's like, just keep chipping away at things
Yeah.
where you're like, oh, now I have a credit in the New York Times. Now I have, you know, like a portfolio of fresh photographs. And so, and it took years. It was years. I mean,
Absolutely.
you know,
Yeah.
like I think I started photographing again in 2014, and it, you know, I mean, it took me years and years and years of building and building and building and building to get published in any type of, I mean, and it's online magazines still count, but it's like, you know, when you
They
get
do.
that, you're like, oh, I was published in GQ online. I'm like, I will take it. I will take it.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
GQ, cha-ching, you know.
No, and that's the
And
whole
I
point
want to
though.
tell everybody,
Yeah.
you're not getting paid. You know, like
Right.
everyone's always like, oh, you got published in the New York Times. Did you get paid? No, no, I did not. I did not get
Right.
paid for that. But I like to say that at least it's exposure for my work in case somebody does want to hire me. So.
100%. That is part of the journey of the artist and figuring out the style and networking. Like it's a big part of it. Nobody tells you that in school. Nobody tells you, you know, you're going to have to do all these like pro bonos and collaborate. And well, what does a
Hmm.
collaborate mean? Like it's just part of the process. And that's how you really develop like your skill working with different people and different types of models and different types of skin tones and different types of backgrounds. Like that's
Yeah.
really the only way. So, I mean, I commend you for having that awareness and saying like I'm not going to give up. I'm still going to try and I'm still going to go for it, and having like the balls to like continue to ask people to collaborate with you. Like that's, you know what I mean? And Madonna did that. She's gotten rejection after rejection, and
Yeah.
look at where she's at. Like so for me, like she's always that inspiration of like she's been beaten down. She still to this day has, you know, issues of people. She's never gonna please everybody, right?
Yeah.
But that's not the point. Like it's the point is to do what brings you joy, what makes you happy, and what makes you give you those butterflies when you are creating that magic, and then you see the final product. That's really what's fulfilling. You know what I mean? I feel like that at the end is what matters for like the artist, and then the pay will come later
Fingers
the
crossed.
patience, and yes, and you continue to do the work and show through. I wanted to ask, because I know that you have like your regular Monday through Friday job, you're in PR, you're in photography, you're a podcaster. Do you have any practices or routines that you place to nurture your creativity while running your business?
Um, Practices to like keep me engaged, you mean?
Sure. Some people talk about fitness, spirituality. Some people talk about, meditation
Uh,
or just like having
those
like,
are all wonderful ideas. I actually, I mean,
some people don't have anything because they just can't
I,
figure it out.
I
You know what I
don't,
mean?
I think, well, one of my recent news, not side hustles, I wouldn't even say, I think it's just a hobby. It's definitely a hobby, is as a result of the podcast, as you know, I started getting involved in music production. So
Yeah.
because you produce the podcast, you get used to working with audio files.
Yeah.
And we were doing an erotica tribute episode a couple years back, and everyone was sort of contributing. I had reached out to a bunch of people to contribute stories and memories of, like what erotica meant to them, and a favorite song or a favorite memory of the era. And I was like, well, I talk about her all the time. There's nothing special about me sharing a story about Madonna on the show, because
Yeah.
I do that every time we record. So I thought, what can I do that would be something new and different for me as an artist, and for the listeners on the show. And so I thought, oh,
Hmm.
let me I've always wanted to produce a song,
Yeah.
and let me just try. And so I decided to
Hell
do
yeah.
a song uh, as a tribute to her character in the erotica album and the sex book, Dita. And because she says, "My name is Dita, I'll be your mistress tonight,"
Hmm.
I decided, I was
Hmm.
like, "Oh, I'll call the song Mistress Dita, and it'll be
Yeah.
a song just about that character." And I was like, I'll let me, and I'm not a singer, but I was like, I'll do spoken word like she does
Hmm.
in
Hmm.
erotica. And I was like, I'll make the song sound like the erotica album,
I
make it
remember
dirty
it.
and gritty. And yeah,
Yeah.
so if you want to, it's streaming on streaming wherever you find music, Amazon, Apple,
Yes.
Spotify, called Mistress Dita. I love it. I think it's a great first effort for producing
It's
music, but
cute. It
yeah,
has a good
it's
beat
a bop,
and your spoken word sounds good.
yeah, it
Yeah.
sounds,
No, I think you
it's
did a good
breathy,
job.
and it's in the world of erotica. It sounds
Yes.
cheap and dirty, and that was the point. So, but that sort of it got me ignited in, I love pop music. I've been a Madonna fan since I was a kid, and
Hmm.
to be able to feel like, oh my God, I can actually now produce music that I want to
Yeah.
hear. I mean, since Madonna's taking her time getting us another album, I was like,
Right.
well, I might as well start putting out some dance music that I want to
Yes.
hear. And as you know, our wonderful girl,
Yeah.
Liberty King, Liberty Rentrop, she's a woman of many names. She has she's been co-hosting on the show with us for the past couple years,
Beautiful
and
voice.
she's got a beautiful singing voice. And I thought, hey,
Hmm.
Liberty, why don't we start making some music together? So
Hmm.
we have, and she's been wonderful to collaborate with. We've never met in person, and yet we continue to
So cool.
collaborate on music back and forth via
Yeah.
email, and we just have like FaceTime chats, or
Do
like
I see
I'll
an EP in the future?
there's one coming. Yeah, yeah, there totally is. Yeah, yeah. We've been
Yes.
working on it's
Absolutely.
look, it takes it's she's a full-time teacher and a
Hmm.
mom, and she's
Hmm.
got, her schedule, and then I've got my busy schedule and the
Yeah,
podcast and this, and it's like to try to find time to get everything done.
I
It's just tough,
understand.
like it's
Yeah.
tough. There's not enough time in the day.
Yeah.
And and plus then sometimes you just get tired, at the end of the
Yeah.
day, after you work all
Yeah.
day, you go to the gym afterwards, you have dinner, and then you're sitting on the couch and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
but I don't want to edit the podcast tonight. And you just
Yeah.
have to, it's like somebody had I had seen, I don't know if it was a meme or some inspirational people, those people are always posting inspirational quotes left and right. It's
Yeah.
like you feel like if you're not doing something, you're living your life wrong. But I somebody had posted saying like life is going to be hard. If you're not working your job, you're going to be unemployed and homeless, and life is going to be hard. Or you can work that awful job that you hate and it'll be a
Mm.
different hard. It'll still be hard, but at least you'll have money and a house
Yeah.
and
I
that
like
sort of thing.
that.
So choose your hard, basically,
Yeah, yeah. That's cool.
and I thought, yeah, like if you, yes, the podcast fitting in an artistic endeavor outside of your normal everyday job is a challenge, and it is
Yeah.
work, and it is hard, and it will never get easy because that's just life. But if you want to keep doing
Yeah.
it, like I love doing the podcast, and I thought, well, you know, we don't make barely any money off the show, and
Right.
like uh, which is
It's part of
fine.
the sacrifices though of what brings you joy, and you're really good at it. And
Yeah,
all
I
you
mean,
guys do a
right, and
fantastic
but I was
job.
like, well, I have two options. I can stop doing the podcast, and then I won't have to worry about doing the podcast. But then it's done. Then I'm like, well,
Then I'm gonna be sad. I'm not gonna have anything
and
to look forward
or I
to.
keep doing the show, and
Yeah.
like just sort of keep having that creative outlet, and I just, yeah, I love doing it. It's just been something that's
And
been,
you're so good at it. It's
oh,
like
thanks.
you were
I try.
born to do it. You are literally her uh
I keep waiting
correspondence
for her
for her
team to hire me. I
tour.
don't know why her team hasn't. Well, I guess why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free? I'm already doing her. I'm,
Yeah.
I'm doing her good PR already. But
Your period,
I
you
still
are.
say that I would have made a fantastic celebration tour correspondent.
I
Hiring
agree.
me to like attend every
You've
show.
already been to four of them.
I know. Well, I know, and I had such grand plans. I was like, oh, I'll go
Yeah.
and I'll interview fans, and no, it's just there's too much energy going on at
Yeah.
those shows. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm like, I was there to see the show. Although
Oh,
I
I
did
can't
record
wait.
some fantastic footage, which is on our YouTube channel. So
Yes,
if
I
you want
have
to
seen
see
it.
some beautiful 4K footage of Madonna,
They're really good.
yeah.
I know it's on your IG as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When
Sorry, this is
I
all over the place, Andrew. I know that
I love
you
it.
probably
It's
have a
all
list of
good.
questions, and I'm just derailing
No,
that
no, no.
list.
I'm here for it. This is why it's part of it because we're both artists, so it's all good. No, I mean that's part of the journey, right? Where you have to make sacrifices for the overall fulfillment of what the artistic expression is. And for you, like that is part of your everyday job. Like I don't think Stefan would be Stefan without MLVC. Like that is like kind of like your therapy in a sense, it fulfills
Oh,
you and it's
that's
so
good. Yeah, yeah,
good.
yeah.
It is.
That's
It
a good way to
fulfills
look at
you.
it. Yeah. Well,
So
because
it's
I
a labor
mean,
of love.
I would talk about I would talk about Madonna anyway. So at
Right.
least now there's an outlet for it, as opposed to
Exactly.
bugging my friends and family who probably don't give a shit, like at
Same.
least this
Same.
way I have people that
I
want
have like
to
a
hear.
handful that
Yeah.
I could like just you're
Some,
one
right.
of
Yeah. I
that.
mean, I've
You're
got
one of
some
that.
friends, but like,
Right.
yeah, I mean, but yeah, and you'd think
We're
I'd
a special breed.
you think I'd grow weary of it by now, but no, no,
No, same. Same. It's not gonna
no.
happen. Cool. Okay. Well, I mean, we're talking about Madonna. So when did that spark happen? Like when did you just was when did you
Mm,
know like this is the woman, this is the pop star that I'm here
yep.
for?
Lori Rose, sixth grade birthday party. We had the word had gotten out to the parents of the school that I was attending that at the birthday parties we had started kissing games, because it was like, like 7 minutes in heaven, or, like
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
spin the bottle. And so Lori Rose parents, all the parents called Lori Rose parents and said, this is what's happening and we don't want this to happen. And so
Yeah.
Lori Rose parents chaperoned us and they gave us entertainment to watch so we wouldn't do the kissing games. And that entertainment came in the form of a Betamax tape of Madonna's Virgin Tour. And I had never heard of Madonna before then, but they put this tape on. And as you know, the Virgin Tour starts with I went to New York and I had a dream. I wanted to be a big star. And it's that beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
gorgeous black and white footage of her with the huge long blonde hair, very Shanghai Surprise.
Mm-hmm.
And then the tour starts, she's home in Detroit and she comes down those stairs to dress you up. And instantaneously, I was in
Yeah.
love. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know why or what happened, but there was
Mm-hmm.
just something about the combination of seeing that and, like, and just her visuals and her dancing and the songs. And then at the very end, they sort of recap it, sort of bookended with
Yeah.
again the same black and white footage, and they loop her laughing over the credits, and my friend Jennifer and I, who are now have been lifelong Madonna fans ever since,
Yeah.
her and I just looked at each other and started laughing because we thought it was the most ridiculous thing in the world that they were just looping the laugh over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And that's it. That from that moment on, I was a Madonna fan. And
Incredible.
yeah, and then then I had, of course, because she had music out, I was able to like catch up and figure out, oh, what like, oh my God, that was the
That's the whole
only
thing.
time in my entire life that I ever
Mm.
had the fortune of having three Madonna albums to catch up on at the same time. Because
Right. Right.
like, how like when people are like when they discover a show and
Right.
like there's like, oh
They
my God,
binge it.
and they're like, oh my God, there's 3 seasons of this show,
Right.
and then they're able to binge it back to back to
That's
back
like
to
her
back.
discography. Yeah.
That's sort of what I was able to happen because I was able to find her right before the Who's That Girl era started. So I was able to binge the first Madonna album, Like a
Yeah.
Virgin, and True Blue, all back to back to back. So it was like
Incredible.
this plethora of, but it's the only time that's ever happened ever. Now I'm
And you went to that tour, didn't you?
sadly no. Oh God, I wish I
Oh, okay.
went.
Okay.
My first tour was Blind Ambition.
Oh,
I
well,
was not able to see. No,
still.
I missed those. Plus, I was probably too
Yeah.
young. My mom would have never let me go.
Yeah.
So I would have been far too young for that.
Blonde Admission in what city?
Philadelphia,
Incredible.
worst
So good.
seats I've ever had for a
It
Madonna
doesn't
show.
matter. You were
I
there.
mean, it was like she was this tiny little blonde ant
Yeah.
masturbating on stage. You know.
And no screens back then, as far as like projection.
No, I know. I no her the
Mm-hmm.
I mean they filmed her so like from far away you could see her on the big
Mm-hmm.
screen, but it wasn't like no, the tours were not as opulent
Not
as
technology
no.
as it has it now.
No. But
So cool. I
but that
love that.
spoiled me. That spoiled me. That was my very first concert I'd ever gone to.
I
And I
mean,
just
epic.
assumed that that's what going to a concert was like. Like I
You're
just
so lucky.
figured, oh, this is what a concert is.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a Broadway show.
Cinematic. Yeah.
And little did I know, I was disappointed when I went to I'm like, what is this? What's this
Right.
crock of shit?
Well, that's what set the tone for all concerts going forward. Now, all female pop stars going forward. It was, before her, it was just Michael Jackson that would put that kind of like extravagant
Yeah,
show.
but
So,
not as theatrical.
no,
It was
not even
presentational for
for
sure.
sure.
He would
Yeah.
dance, but it was not as theatrical. So
No, she brought in the theater to it and
yeah.
the acting and
Hmm.
just the full multimedia experience. I love that. Okay, cool. Well, back to the mindful artistness.
Yes. Oh, I
Um,
had to look that up, Andrew. I gotta say, I was like, what is so apparently a little bit of background on
yeah,
being a mindful artist because I was like,
yes, please
oh,
tell
I'm like,
us.
what would that be? What's like
Mm-hmm.
what? And so apparently there's three qualities of mindfulness: intention,
Mm-hmm.
attention, and
Yeah.
attitude. And I was like,
Work.
okay, that's good. I can like that.
I'm
And
here
then
for all of that.
I also there's apparently the four C's of mindfulness, which is creativity,
Mm-hmm.
culture,
Mm-hmm.
contemplation, and community. I was like, okay. So
Girl, you're speaking my
I was
language.
trying to
These
do a
are,
little bit of because I was like,
I
oh,
love
I don't know.
it.
I'm like,
Not my
am I a
co-host.
mindful artist? I don't
You
know if I
are though. You
necessarily
are.
am.
All those words resonate with what you do and what you embody and the community that you have developed and the art that you have expressed and you're a storyteller, period. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And you've connected so many people with the stories that we've all shared with each other. And it's,
Yeah.
I'm getting like goosebumps just thinking about like all the people that we have met throughout the world and just talked to from
Oh, I love
globally.
that. I mean, I love that.
Incredible.
I love that
We speak one
I
language, and that's
am
the
able to
love for
like
Madonna.
know people. I mean, we have listeners from all over the world, which is fantastic. And it's so fun to think of, that there's like, I get
Be
messages from
proud of
people
it.
saying, oh, hello from Turkey or hello from Asia or this. And it's mind
Yeah,
boggling to think that,
it's so
like,
dope.
but it's
And you
fun.
did
It's,
that. You did that. Well, you
well,
and
no,
and
no.
the
I think
team.
Madonna makes the people come together.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, you built that safe space for all of us. So, what tips can you share or advice for aspiring entrepreneurs like yourself looking to incorporate more creativity into their work?
Oh, well, it's like Madonna says, it's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. You just have
True.
to, if you want to do it, you just have to sort of, I find it's, you can sit at home and turn on the television and just zone out, and
Hmm.
all of a sudden it's time to go to bed and you haven't done anything but watch television. And I am guilty of that very
You're
often. But
human.
yeah, but because you work all day in front of a computer, sometimes the last thing I want to do is sit in front of a
You want
computer
like,
again for a couple of
right.
hours and either edit the show or edit my photographs. And it's, but if you want to work on a project, you have to put the time into it. And so it's more of just like forcing yourself to sit down and do the work. And I will sometimes do a reward system where I'm like, okay,
I like that.
I will not. I'm like, you can watch some television after you do an hour of, and sometimes there's a wonderful woman named Samantha Bennett. She is part of the Organized Artist Company, and she has this wonderful book called Get It Done, and it's all about how anyone who wants to work on a project, no matter how busy you are in life, if you spend 15 minutes a day on that
Mm-hmm.
project will move along. Because
Absolutely.
even though 15 minutes doesn't sound like a lot of time, if you don't work on it at all during the day, then nothing's going to progress. So
Exactly.
at least, and sometimes, and I go into that. So I'm like, okay, I'll just do 15 minutes of editing for my photographs. And usually what happens is you get into the groove, Madonna pun intended,
Hey.
and hey, um, you get into the groove of like, okay, now I'm working on this, I'm editing,
Hmm.
and usually 15 minutes can turn into a half an hour or an hour. And then,
Yeah.
like, because
Especially when you're on a
it's
roll.
just a matter of putting yourself in that mindset. And I think
Hmm.
sometimes removing a temptation, so like, don't put the television on while you're trying to
No.
do an artistic project, because something will flash on the screen and then you'll be sidetracked. And it's the
Put
same thing.
devices away.
Don't, like, we all have our cell phones, like,
Hmm.
don't start scrolling on Instagram, because a
Hmm.
half an hour later you'll get, TikTok memes will suddenly take over. And like,
It's
it's
true.
okay, but like, it's okay to do those things, but just like in moderation. So if you feel like you don't have time, you do. It's just a matter of when and where and
Yeah.
how. Um, I mean, I'm fortunate enough that it's just me. I don't have a family of, I don't have kids, so I don't
Right.
have to worry about putting kids to bed or bathing them or getting food ready for school the next
No
day.
pets.
Like, no pets. Um, but it's just, I designed my life that way. And so I have the
Hmm.
fortune of being able to devote my free time to creativity. And um I mean,
I love that.
but it's tiring sometimes, like there's
Yeah.
sometimes where I'm just like, I just don't want to do it. And I have to remind myself that I'm like, well, if you don't do it, then it's not going to get done. And if it doesn't get done, then it's your fault when,
Yeah.
you feel like you're not living up to your potential as an artist. And um
Well, I like that
and
you're rewarding yourself too. You're saying if you get this done, then you'll be able to watch TV, or then you're going to get a treat. Like, so having a little reward system, I think is
sometimes, yeah,
awesome.
I mean, and then sometimes I do. And sometimes I just can't, like, sometimes the divine inspiration just hits. Like, I'll be
Hmm.
listening to music and I'm like, oh, and it'll, an idea will strike me for like a story or like a movie idea or a song idea. And
Yes. Yes.
I'm just constantly sort of like, and I mean, I've never done a movie. I've never, even never done a
Not
TV
yet.
show, not yet. But
Hmm.
that's the thing. I'm constantly writing stuff down, writing stuff down, writing stuff down, just cobbling together ideas and this, that, and because you never know, like, where it might come together, come into fruition somewhere down the line. Um, and also, I believe part of being an artist, obviously, we all want to be successful. We want to, we all would love to be getting paid to work on our art and full time. I know I would, but um, just because you're not doesn't necessarily, one, mean you're not a successful artist. I think you have to
Correct.
have a lot of self-confidence and belief in yourself as an artist. I mean, I remember the first time I took a photo of somebody with, it was maybe one of my early photo shoots with a model, and I edited
Hmm.
it in Photoshop for the very first time. And when I looked at it, I was like, wow, this looks like something you would see in a magazine. And that was the very
Hmm.
first time that I remembered thinking to myself, oh, I can do this.
Yeah.
I'm just as good. And I think the thing that I've learned time after time after time is you're, even if you're not like on one of your photos isn't on the cover of GQ magazine, it doesn't mean that you're not as good as the people who are on the cover of GQ magazine. It just means you might not have the connection that those people have. Like
Right.
for instance, now Andrew, I was recently in Washington D.C. to see
Yeah.
Madonna's final celebration
Yeah.
tour show of 2023.
I heard the recap. Yeah.
Yes. And her guest for the Vogue ballroom scene was Santa Claus.
Oh my
Now,
God.
I
Yeah.
happened to be in one of the fan pits that I paid a huge amount of money to be part of. And when Santa Claus came up and joined Madonna, I started snapping a whole bunch of pictures.
Right.
And one of my pictures is absolutely brilliant. I'm patting myself on the back for it because
It
it's
really
so,
is.
so good. And
And
I
it
was
went
like,
viral.
well, because I knew it, because I was like, let me post this immediately because I wanted my
Yes.
photo to be out first.
Yes.
And it is now, in my mind, the definitive photo of
Hmm.
Madonna and Santa Claus. And you will see that photo probably every Christmas. It'll come back around. It'll come back around.
100%.
But when I took that, the whole long winded reason I'm telling you this story is
You're
when
good.
I saw that photo, all I thought was, see, I can take just as amazing as a photo as Madonna's social guy.
Paparazzi.
I just don't have the connection to, be doing that full time for her, So, but I looked at it, I'm like, my photo is just as good as any other photo that she
Oh
puts
yeah.
out from the tour. It's just a matter of
I was
who
so
you,
proud.
it's who you
I was
know.
like, yeah. No, it was done very well. And the fact that you were smart enough to be like, this has got to be online now.
Yeah,
Like
oh yeah, yeah.
that was so smart.
But I think,
And you
but
had
that,
Santa interview too.
yes. Oh
What
yeah.
the heck?
Well, I was like,
Within
I have to
24
get him on I have
hours.
to get him on the show. So
Like you
yes,
go,
I
Stefan.
got the guy on the show. I got the Santa Claus on the show. But
Incredible.
that's my point, is that like I think there's a lot of people out there who feel like if you're not getting paid and you're not supporting yourself with your art, that means your art isn't good, and that's not true. Your art is good if you love it, and even if people are putting you down and telling you it's trash. I mean, I get messages at least once a month, if not sometimes once a week, from people telling me how terrible my podcast is and how I should, like how why do I can't believe you call yourself a fan. You this and that, blah blah blah. Because sometimes we'll get something wrong, or like
Haters.
in the moment,
It's
where
actually a
like
compliment to have haters.
I well, but and it is sad and depressing sometimes when people come at you and say that what you're doing is terrible. Like one of the things when you put yourself out on a public platform, like a podcast or YouTube or whatnot, you set yourself up to
Right.
have
It comes with the territory.
these anonymous people who don't want to know you, they don't want you to know who they are, and they just start attacking you with awful comments and this and that. And I'm just like, you know what? The more hate I get, I feel like, okay, well, I must be getting bigger and more popular if if I'm getting
Exactly.
more hate. So
Exactly.
I'm like, okay, Madonna gets shit on all the time,
Hmm.
and so I'm like,
Look at where she's at.
yeah.
Yeah. I love it. All right, you guys. So the first season two, 2024, this leads me into a new segment of our podcast.
The library is open! Because reading is what?
Fundamental.
There you have it, darling.
For mindful artists, and that is the library is open. So this is an opportunity for the guests to share with us their favorite book. Maybe it's a book they're currently reading or a book from the past. And what are your top 3 reasons, Stefan? So go for it. What is your favorite book at the moment?
Do we have to talk quietly because we're
No, am I talking quietly? I'm a loud bitch. No.
Oh,
Speak
you're the person, the librarian's like, shh,
Yes.
sit
Yes.
down. You're in the
Yeah.
library. Yeah, your voice would have echoed in a library, Andrew.
Oh, for sure.
You probably
My
would have.
husband says like you don't know how to whisper. I'm like, yes, I do.
Oh, but see, you sound good when you do that. You should do like
Oh, thanks.
ASMR videos.
Well, it's in my song. It says
Listen to
"Mi corazón."
the Mindful Artist podcast.
It's very
Have you
breathy.
ever watched any of those, by the way, the ASMR videos of like that
No,
woman eating a pickle? Like she
no,
just sits there and eats a pickle.
no.
Or
Just
like
I think of
she
breath.
sits there and she like has these long fingernails and she just types on the laptop. And I'm like,
Nope.
I cannot believe this woman is making so much money off of
The
just
closest
eating
to
a
ASMR
pickle.
I've ever watched is Bob Ross. That's about it.
Oh, so good.
Because
Bob
love me some
Ross
Bob
was
Ross.
that was therapy. That was
Yeah,
like that would put me to
yeah.
sleep on a Sunday.
I've been told I'm the Bob Ross of makeup, and I'll take that. Because
Oh,
when I'm talking to
definitely.
my
So
clients, I'm like,
so
so I'm gonna
you're
blend
I
now,
was
and
gonna
this is
say
a
what little
happy
happy
ass.
little bush are you painting? That's what I want to know.
No, not the erotica.
Okay, so library.
Is it
Top
the
three
sex book?
books? Top three books?
No, just one in your top three reasons why.
Okay, no, it's not the sex book. No, I have the sex book, but it's in French
Me
because I
too. I'll bring it out.
do you have the French language version?
No, I have the
Oh,
English
you have an
version.
English language. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, I was not able to get an English language version
yeah.
because I didn't have enough money to buy one for myself. And years later, Barnes and Noble had a whole table. I can't believe I only bought one. I can't believe I
Yeah.
was like,
Well, we didn't know, and
no, I
I'm
know, but
sure.
like they had
Yeah,
all these different foreign language versions of the
I
book.
saw the French version next to the,
So I
and I,
bought the French
yeah,
language version because I was like, well, I took French, so I can figure out some of the
yeah,
words. J'adore ma chatte is
right.
definitely a nice way of Madonna saying she loves her punani. But
Yep.
anyway, favorite book? Well, not I was gonna say not favorite book, but the current book that I'm reading is
Yeah.
A Rebel Life by Mary Gabriel. It's the Madonna It's the Madonna
Yeah.
biography.
Yes.
We had Mary on the show, and I mean, this book is like it's like bigger than a Harry Potter book. Like it's huge. It's like over 900 pages, and it's taking me forever to read. I've been
What chapter are you on?
I used to be such a voracious reader when I was young. Like I loved reading, and now I don't read as much, and I don't know why. Um, it's not for lack of like time. I just don't think I think I do so many other projects now that
Yeah.
I like don't have the attention span to read. I just got to Madonna and Sean's wedding. I don't know what chapter
Mm,
that is, but I'm still in the
okay.
80s. I'm still in the
Yeah, yeah.
80s.
Sounds like
Um,
chapter two or three, probably.
no, 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 no. I'm it's like over 900 pages. I think I
Yeah.
like it's huge, the book, but
It's probably the first chapter. Yeah.
no, it's like I think it's like chapter 13 or 14, it's something like that.
Oh,
There's
okay.
there's
Okay.
tons of chapters. Like it's
Okay.
like
Got it.
there's
Got it.
like 100 and some chapters in the book.
Got
It's
it.
crazy. But
Rebel Life.
Rebel Life by Mary Gabriel. Um that's the current book I'm reading. I'm trying to think if there's like other what are you currently reading, Andrew?
I'm doing Matt Kahn. Everything is here to help you. I'm doing
Is that a makeup book like Kevin Aquan's book?
no, it's actually it's more mindfulness, and it's about retraining the brain on opportunities and challenges that we often occur or experience. And at the time, we might think like, "Oh, why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me? Oh, another day, like bad luck." But
Mm-hmm.
maybe why retraining the brain to say or ask, "Why is this happening for me? What can I learn from this situation?" So I'm
Mm-hmm.
fascinated with energies and learning about like what is it about that person that I wasn't vibing with, and maybe I'm projecting something that I didn't like about myself. And so it's really cool. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
nice.
it's
I'm all about
there's
human energy. I think there's like
yeah,
I love the experiencing energies
yes,
from people,
yes.
and even when you experience like a negative energy from somebody,
Hmm.
it's fascinating to
Yeah,
experience that. And
exactly. I always want
um
to wonder, like I want to find out why, or like what is the connection, like what or
well,
what is
I think we're all light. I think we're all
mm-hmm,
like I think we're
mm-hmm,
all one and connected in this
mm-hmm.
universe. And um to be able to send love out as much as possible. I mean, I'm so guilty of like being a harbinger of like irritation, and like
Yeah,
I have a very short fuse when it comes to random people and like stupidity. And just
right.
like I just want people to be aware of their surroundings. Like if
Mm-hmm.
you're storming out of your house, just look left or right before to make sure you're not going to run into somebody.
Yeah,
Or like hold the door for somebody, like look to see
yeah,
that there's somebody, just like just being kind
Aware.
and considerate and aware
Yeah.
of the other humans in the space, like to recognize that you're not the only person in the
Yeah.
world. And
I mean, if you practice that, I'm finding that that can be infectious too with your surroundings. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
that's what I'm learning from this book. But I also love, sci-fi like Martian Chronicles, Ray
Mm,
Bradbury. Um, and I'm also reading this other one by Rob Dial called Level Up. It's just all these things that like I'm a nerd. I like to have like a ongoing 3 book rotation, and
oh,
so that's
nice.
my goal this year. I'm doing this mindful, or sorry, it's called Reflect 30-day reset. And so now I'm trying to have like 5 books
So it's a lot of
rotating.
self-help books.
Yeah, mainly. And sci-fi. I love sci-fi too.
Well, why are you reading so many self-help books? I feel like you seem very calm and cool and collected.
Probably because of the self-help books. It's just I'm fascinated with the human brain. I'm fascinated with neurology and how it's basically my mom. I just lost my mom
Mm-hmm.
earlier this year, and she suffered a long term of chronic depression and substance abuse. And so through her mental health journey, I'm really educating myself along with my brothers to help them. And then I'm finding I'm helping other people through that experience. So it's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And so I try to bring that into the podcast whenever I possibly can.
Nice.
But thank you for sharing that book. I love that. So this leads me into my other favorite part of the podcast. This is called Wrapping Up Mindful Artists Rapid Cues. Just like you on your podcast, wherever you are, intuitively, don't think too hard about it.
Yeah. Oh, I love
Question
this.
number one.
This tables have turned.
Question number one for you, Stefan.
Mhm.
Who is your hero and why?
Oh God, my mother,
Yes. What's mama's name?
Marianne.
Shout out to
She
Marianne.
was a single mom raising 2 kids, and life was not easy. And she's a wonderful person, and I love her. Yeah.
Good job. Love that.
Oh,
All
because
right.
she's always supported me and championed me to live up
She always
to
will.
my potential and encourages me in my artistic endeavors. And
Yeah.
um like to just always feel supported has been a really wonderful gift for
It's very
me,
special.
because like even because like I was saying, sometimes I don't support myself with my artistic endeavors, and so sometimes I feel like I failed. Like a lot of times
Yeah.
because I'm not getting paid for my art, I feel like, oh, I'm a failure. And it's at least nice to have somebody who's always been there
Your
saying,
number one fan.
"You're
Yeah.
great. This is wonderful." And I mean,
Yeah.
when it's your mom, you sometimes don't necessarily believe them, but it's still
Yeah.
nice to hear.
Absolutely. I agree. We love Marianne. Good answer.
Yeah.
All right. Question number two for wrapping up my Florida's Rapid Cues. What is your favorite music album of all time?
Oh, to God, I was gonna say it's got to be a Madonna album. I'm just gonna say Erotica because it's off the top of my head that's
Good.
yeah.
Good. It's a good capsule. It embodies a
Mhm.
lot of things. I love it. Question number three. What is your favorite quote of all time?
Oh God. Oh, I was gonna say it should be a Madonna quote, I guess, right? I mean, this is the one that I always come
It's
back
fitting.
to.
It's fitting.
Yeah, this is the one that I always come back to, and I'm paraphrasing, but it's Madonna when she says, uh, you're not gonna get what you don't ask for," basically. Like
Mm,
if you don't ask for it, you're not gonna get it. And
period.
I think that's true. Like in life, if there's an opportunity that comes your way, you have to take it. Um, and just jump at it, because you never know what's gonna happen. And you won't know if you don't ask. So.
Absolutely. You said it perfectly. Yeah, and that's Mindful Artist podcast, you guys.
Oh,
Oh
I
my
wanted more
God.
questions.
I
I like
know.
you need to come
You're
up with like
so good at
five.
it.
You need like five or
Maybe I will.
something.
Maybe I will
Your
for season two
three is
as
good,
it
but
keeps going.
why? What's your favorite quote right now?
Ooh, um, my favorite quote right now is probably going to be,
Oh, you're taking too long.
I know, because I've been interviewing. You're like my third one today.
Oh wow, busy man.
That's okay. I'm gonna say one for me. Hair and makeup is emotional because of not only how it affects myself as the artist performing it, but how it affects the human as they experience themselves in the
Sure.
mirror and how it affects others around them. It's an emotional, medium. So I
Yeah,
love
yeah,
that.
yeah. No, that's totally true.
I
Oh,
get
I
this
was gonna say,
emotional.
so there's two wonderful books that
Yes, tell
I
us.
have read in the past. I'm adding these on. So
Mm-hmm.
one is called Dancer from the Dance by Andrew Holleran. It's a gay book, and I love it. It I
Of a gay
I've
book.
read it years ago, but it's wonderful gay fiction, and then there's one called
My husband's into that.
Dry by Augustin Burroughs,
Okay.
and I had stopped drinking when I was 35
Congratulations.
to help me quit smoking cigarettes, and then I just enjoyed not drinking so much that I decided to stay stay off booze. But
Yeah.
Dry is a book by Augustin Burroughs who he talks about how he was an alcoholic, and it's his story of getting sober, and it was just fascinating to read. Ever since I stopped drinking, it's been fascinating for me to read other people's stories about them
Yeah.
stopping drinking
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
the differences and the similarities, and because
Mm-hmm.
I had never considered myself an alcoholic, but there's still similarities that people encounter by like when they
Yeah.
quit drinking. It's
Yeah.
the same type of things happen. So yeah, so it's
I
always
love
fascinating
that.
to read
Thank you for
that.
sharing that. I got Rebel Life, Dancer from the Dance, and Drive by Augustin Burroughs. Very
Yeah.
cool. Awesome. Stefan, you're amazing. I'm
Oh,
so
thanks,
grateful to know
Andrew.
you.
You were amazing
This is a
too. I
delight.
love that you're doing this show and bringing artists of
You inspired me to do that.
all different
So,
types of you
and
know
thank you for giving me advice when I called you about it too. I appreciate that.
Oh yeah, that's one thing I think I should start doing as another side hustle. I'm gonna start
Yeah, yeah,
if anyone wants to
consulting.
to hire me to consult for podcasting, I'm available. So
You really are. You were good. Where can we find you? Where can we support you and do all the things?
sure. So if you want to look at my photography because it's beautiful,
It really
I
is.
I'm you can check my website stefanmreczko.com, or my Instagram for my photography is at smreczko Mreczko. Then you
Beautiful.
can find MLVC, the Madonna podcast, on anywhere that you stream podcasts,
Hmm.
Spotify, Apple, YouTube. We're everywhere. And we're also on Instagram, Twitter, and Threads at MLVC
Hmm.
Podcast. Our what am I saying? Our
You're
sixth
good.
season will be
That's
kicking off
crazy. Bravo.
in early
Congratulations.
January. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm excited.
Can't wait. I'm here for it. Thank you so much for being here, Stefan. And thank you, everybody else, my kings and queens and all in between. This is your one-stop shop place for all things mindfulness, creativity, while balancing your spirituality and being an entrepreneur. Make sure that you follow us on social media. If you are an entrepreneur that wants to express your story, email me at mindfulartistpodcast@gmail.com. And that song you're about to hear is called Mi Corazón. You can download wherever you stream your favorite music. Written by myself, Andrew Velasquez, and produced by Aaron McClendon. Thank you so much. Stefan, thank you,
Thank you,
everybody.
thank
Make an impact in
you.
somebody's lives, and I'll see
I can't
you
do the
in
hearts
the
as
next
well as
show.
you can, but
I don't think it's working. There it is.
there it is.
Bye, guys.
Bye.